Hello, right-handed knitters. This video is for you. The first thing I want to talk about is our ball of yarn. So as we talked about in our class, you want to take the yarn from the middle of the ball. I gave you a little tail sticking out of the middle of the ball. And if you pull on that, it should come out pretty easy and clean, and your ball won't roll around the table and on the floor on you. If you do find the end on the outside of the ball and you want to use that, that's fine, but the ball might kind of roll around as you pull the yarn off. And if that's the case, then you might want to put the ball in a bowl or a little basket or something to keep it from rolling around. But if you use the yarn from the middle, like I kind of prepared it for you, it should stay put pretty well. Okay, so you want to take your ball of yarn and you want to put it onto your left side, and you want to pull a good amount out so that your yarn there's plenty of yarn between your loom and the ball, so your ball isn't kind of snugging up close to your loom and getting in your way. And then just to talk about how we prepared our loom, for those of you that might be starting from scratch. For right-handed people, the first peg is the first peg to the left of the anchor peg. This is the first peg for right-handed people. And we made the first peg blue. We swapped out pegs from our blue loom and put them in our green loom. This will be kind of important later when we're trying to finish up closing the hat. So the first peg is blue, then you count 5 green pegs and another blue one, and 5 more green pegs and another blue one, all the way around until you get 6 sections of pegs separated by blue. 6 sections of 6. That's how we get started. Okay, so to begin knitting, we do a quick slip knot. And I'm just going to quickly do the one that seemed like it was the favorite for everybody in class. I'm also posting a video that shows the other 3 ways we did, or the other 2 ways we did, just so you have them if you want them. Okay, so the easy way that we decided as a class was the best way, is where if you're right-handed, you pick it up in your left hand, you pick up the very end in your left hand and hold it in your fingers and stick out your thumb. Then you bring the yarn under your thumb, over the thumb and over the top of the yarn, then come down and around below the first loop, and then put the end in your fingers. You can even combine it with the other one if you want. Now hopefully you didn't pull that so tight that you can't move these loops. These should be loose enough that you can move them. And then this top loop gets pulled down over the bottom one. Then you grab the bottom one and pull it through, pull your thumb out as you go. And that makes a slip knot. Now you should have a slip knot with a tail that does not move. If you pull on it, it doesn't move. And the long end that's connected to your ball should be able to slip, so you can make the loop bigger or smaller. And that's what you want when you're knitting, because you always want to be able to kind of slip the next knot and the next one so that you can kind of tighten it or loosen it as you go. Okay, so the way we put the yarn on our loom, we want the knot facing away from us towards the middle of the loom. The tail is going to be on our right side, and we're going to place the loop on that first peg. Okay, and then I'm going to just pull gently on both pieces to tighten this loop just a little bit. I mean, we don't want it so tight that it can't slide easily up and down. You want to make sure that that slides very easily. So don't let it get too tight. And then that's a pretty good measure for how tightly you want to wrap the rest of your loops. If they're all about like that and they can move easily, then you're probably in pretty good shape. Okay, So the first step to doing your knitting is to take the yarn back behind the peg, around the front, back to front, back to front, back to front. And we're going to do that all the way around the loom. Okay, so I'm almost done wrapping around my last few pegs for my first. Okay, so that's all done. I've done one set of wrapping back to front all the way around the loom. Okay, now we're actually going to start our knitting. So I'm going to go, this is our first blue peg again, and I'm going to wrap it a second time, kind of up at the top. And then in order to hold it in place, I always like to knit the very first peg so that it doesn't come off. So you put your crochet hook into the bottom loop and you lift it up and over the peg. Now you can do these one at a time. You can just do one and then knit and one and knit and one and knit, and that's just fine if you like to work that way. I find it to be a little faster if I wrap a few, like 3 or 4. And then hold on. And I'm doing this right-handed, and I'm not right-handed, so see, I hold my crochet hook kind of like the wrong way to hold a fork. I hold it overhanded, but you can also hold it like this, put it underneath there, and then scoop it over the top as well. It's just kind of your preference, and you'll kind of decide as you go what feels best to you, and that's okay. So I use it that way, and then I pull it over and kind of use my thumb to make sure it goes over. So I'll kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll knit them, and then keep going on. If you wanted to wrap the whole thing a second time, so all of your loops looked like this all the way around, and then knit everything in one go, you could also do that, but that also kind of opens you up to a little bit more risk when you know, it's possible to drop stitches, and then you have to come back and re-knit everything if you have to back up. So doing 3 or 4 at a time helps so you don't get too far if you mess up. So that's basically the knitting, and what we're going to do is keep, see, I can't do this right-handed. We're going to keep doing this over and over and over again, and every time that you reach, come back all the way around and come back to this first blue peg, that is 1 row or 1 round. And with the blue, we are going to do 12 rounds total. So after this first round, there'll be 11 more.